What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel. Check out the content. And with that being said, I want to speak on a quote by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? And this quote was basically about LeBron James and his celebrating, after made baskets or after a big play, right? And this not it, I think this really just is about not just LeBron, like I said, but this new generation of basketball players, right? And so what the quote says is, for me, winning was enough. Why do you need to do a stupid childish dance and disrespect the other team on the court? It doesn't make sense. Goats don't dance. And wow, that's to me, that's a strong statement, right? He said goats don't dance. And looking back on not just basketball, but baseball and football, like you never really, like back in the day, like, and I started watching sports in the 70s. So in the 80s and the 90s, you didn't see that, not too much. You really didn't see that. I can't recall like like Larry Bird or Magic Johnson and them just doing the kind of things that some of these guys do. Even in football, I remember there was a college rule. I don't know if the college rule still stands. Like you couldn't spike the ball in football. Like if you score a touchdown, you couldn't just throw it down. You just had to give it to the ref. I think nowadays they are a little bit more lenient on that, but I thought that was, I thought that rule was a good rule because I don't think it's necessary. Like sometimes in order to score on a football field or basketball, you have to do like make a great play because somebody is trying to deny you the opportunity, the chance to score. So you got to make a play. And no dance or no celebration that you do after that great play that you might have made, or the great catch, or the great shot that you made, like it just like the play by itself just really just stands out. And you sort of, in my opinion, you sort of just cheapen the experience. You cheapen, you like, in the word, I like the fact he said childish. You really do. It makes you look childish. Like when I see LeBron doing like that, and he doing the hand thing and he's stomping, or if I see him like pounding his chest, or acting like he's putting on a crown. Just never seen Michael Jordan do stuff like that. Never seen Kareem do anything like that. And Kareem, like he had a shot that nobody could block. He got that sky hook, and you couldn't block the sky hook. But you know, um, he wouldn't celebrate. He always respected the game, and that's what I like about those old school ball players. They respected the game, and they respected their opponents. And so if you make a great play on the court, it just looked goofy. It looked silly to me. Like I remember, the first time I watched Antoine Walker, right? When Antoine Walker got drafted by the Boston Celtics. He went to the Boston Celtics. I think Paul Pierce was there, I think, at the time. And he used to do like the shimmying and all that stuff. And I was like, what? And they losing. They, like as long as they were losing games, and he going down the court doing all this shimmying and celebrating and stuff. And I'm like, wow, what is all that for? It just make them look, it just didn't look good. It make them look childish again, which I think is a good word for it. Just made them look childish and immature when you celebrate like that, and you're not even winning. Can you imagine Barry Sanders, after he done made 6 or 7 players miss on a run on one possession. They pitch him the ball or hand him the ball, and he makes 6 players miss, run 40 or 50 yards for a touchdown. Like, what dance can you do after that? And after you make 6 or 7 people miss, you don't need a dance. You need to go sit down and or you need to go get you something to drink, but you don't need a dance after you make a great play. Michael Jordan, he might I think when they won the championships and stuff like that, he ran and he jumped on the table and he pumped his fist. But that was it. If the game was over, that was it. In the locker room, they had their champagne and stuff like that when they won championships. And but even Bill Russell, like you never seen Bill like Bill. I don't even see like too many pictures of like Bill Russell even smiling. Who's the other guy who never smiled? The guy who played for the Boston Celtics. The chief, what was the chief name? Robert Parrish. This guy never, they never smiled. But then that don't mean that they didn't have fun and enjoy the game, but why crowning yourself and beating on your chest like it's just not necessary. If you the GOAT, you don't do that. Believe it or not, people really gave Muhammad Ali a lot. That's why he caught so much flack because they always claimed to be the greatest and all that stuff, right? And I think if it wasn't for the fact that Muhammad Ali was standing up for people and doing something along the lines of like civil rights and stuff like that, people would have accepted it even less. He would have caught more pushback for what for all the showboating and all that stuff like that. Because really what he did a lot of times is he made his opponents even angrier. You know, who else was a showboater? And in my opinion, very few people, in my opinion, can get away with showboating. Even like the superstars, like you see, Barry Sanders. Like very few people. I'm not Barry Sanders. Deion Sanders. Like Deion Sanders was a showman and he showboated, but and he got away with it. But I think that not a lot of people can get away with it because somewhere along the line, like your opponent is going to make you pay for that. That's number one. Number two, um, it takes away from your focus for the game. And then so you may have like because of the time you're worrying about celebrating or things like that, you may have like a mental lapse and make a bigger mistake and cost yourself a opportunity to score. Nobody, in my opinion, is good enough in any sport, any professional. The margin is just too thin. You don't have a margin like that where as though you can celebrate and pump your chest and stomp and crown yourself. Like the margin is too thin, even for LeBron James. And everybody, as great as LeBron James is, you got to think about it. LeBron James played in 2011. They played against, I think it was the Dallas Mavericks. And Jason Terry was talking so much stuff to LeBron James during that game, just telling him he couldn't play him. Jason Terry, what's the other guy was 5'10", JJ Barrera, right? And they just get LeBron James only scored 8 points on them in one of those championship games. So, you don't have, if you I know where I never seen anybody hold Michael Jordan to number one, 8 points. Then on top of that, number two, nobody ever talked that kind of smack to Michael Jordan, didn't pay the price. And you can't put 6'2" Jason Terry or 5'10" JJ Barrera on Michael Jordan. At no point in his career would you have been able to do that and Michael not score. And he scored 63 against Larry Bird and the Boston Celtics. No way. I think he probably would score 70 or 80 points if you'd put Jason Terry on Michael Jordan, or maybe even more than that. Man, you just and LeBron James gave 8 points. You don't have time to celebrate because at that level, and Antoine Walker proves it. All that time that he spent celebrating, he could have been, he could that could have been energy that he could have been focusing his attention on the game and making himself a better player. He lost focus. He lost focus, and you doing all that celebrating. You celebrating on one end, and then the opponent come down the other end and get an easy basket. So I think that this young generation, man, really need to listen, to the older generation, or follow the older generation's lead when it comes to how they conducted themselves during a basketball game, during their season. Some people say, well, all right, this is a new generation, and things are different. Some things never change. That's what we have history for. That's what we have history books for. So the generation that comes next should be able to look back and see, like, how to conduct yourself. This generation making mistakes that they don't really need to make, and they are not going to have the success that generations before them had. They're not going to have that success. It's almost like starting all over. It's almost like starting all over. And so, and I'm gonna say this about LeBron James, right? Him and Kevin Durant, because their career, I don't think that, like, people, like young players who watch LeBron, who examine LeBron James' career, or if you examine Kevin Durant career, the mistakes that LeBron James and Kevin Durant made during their career, the next generation, I don't see them making those same mistakes. I don't see I don't see these young players, these, especially the franchise ball players. I don't see them chasing rings from team to team like LeBron and like Kevin Durant. They don't, they're not doing that no more, because they see that that's not the way to go. And so that's why, that's how it was a mistake. Like LeBron James and Kevin Durant made a mistake, because if it was the right thing to do, then it would have set a trend, and everybody would be hopping on that wagon. But the young players today, man, when you think of Anthony Edwards, you think of Shea Alexander, you think of Luca just got traded, but he wasn't trying to leave that team he was on. And the Joker was, and not trying to leave Denver, to get a ring. Steph Curry never left. So the mistakes that LeBron made and Kevin Durant made, they're obvious mistakes, and you can tell they're mistakes because nobody else is emulating Kevin Durant and LeBron James. They just not doing it. They see that it was they made big mistakes, and they misjudged things. And so that's my take on it. With that being said, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, and I will check you all out in the next video. Peace.